Say hey, Yellow Jacket football fans. Welcome to the 2023 football season. And wow, does it sound good to say that football is here. Joining me in the press box with Coach Clay Stephenson is Calhoun's head football coach, Clay Stephenson. And this podcast is being brought to you by North Georgia Paperboard. Coach Clay, how's it going?
It's going great. You know, it feels great to hear 2023 football season out loud. It's been a long time in the making. It's when you finish a season, it takes forever to get back to that point again, and here we are.
Yeah, we are here. We had a scrimmage this past Friday against Northwest at Vasicate Complex on Hal Lamb Field, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about how the training has gone, the workouts have gone since the last season ended, and last season was pretty doggone good. And now here we are with a new 2023 season staring us in the face.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a long time coming. Going back to when the season ends, it's kind of Christmas break-ish, and then you come back in January and you start preparing for the next year. And it's a year-round deal, and since from January to now, it's been a long time. But we've had a lot of great workouts. Spring practice was great back in April, and then we kind of transitioned from that into the summer workouts, and had great enthusiasm during those, and we got to practice 2 weeks ago, and everybody was hungry. The coaches were hungry, the players were hungry, and we've had a good couple of weeks of practice so far. And
we go back to the spring game last year. The enthusiasm and the intensity, it really wasn't a spring game. It was more like the final practice of the spring workouts. But a lot of enthusiasm, and the guys looked sharp, and they looked like they were ready to go.
Yeah, it was really nice. We changed up our format a little bit, like you
yes.
mentioned, and I think it was that was the best thing for our team this year. I don't know what we'll do moving forward, but we treated it as a practice, and the kids were flying around. They were excited. We had people in the stands watching, and it was great weather.
Yes,
it
was.
wasn't very hot. It rained a little bit, but the kids enjoyed that, and like I said, we transitioned from that right into summer, and here we are.
Yeah, and you go into summer, and you've got 7-on-7. You kids go to camp. You're constantly working out in the weight room. The guys, Coach Hoplazel obviously runs a really good weight room. The guys are ready to go, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. The way we treat our summers is we don't do a ton of football stuff. We treat it as a strength and conditioning time, and fewer teams are doing that now. Everybody's going to a bunch of padded camps and 7-on-7 tournaments and camps, and we haven't got on board with that yet. We treat it as strength and conditioning, and I think once the season rolls around, I feel like our players are hungry because we haven't done much football stuff. We're looking for a 15-game season, so we want to make sure that we're picking at the right time. So we did 1 7-on-7 with Adair's one Northwest Whitfield, and that went really well. And then started with the acclimation period.
In the future, we're going to have a couple football players in here when we do our podcast, but the school has just begun here at Calhoun, and everything is a little bit hectic, so we're going to get those lined up for you, but we'll have a couple guys come in and talk to us. We have a lot – this year's a lot different compared to the previous year. We have a lot of starters returning, and we've got a lot of young depth that's ready to become a starter.
Yeah, we do. Going into last year, we had 4, maybe 5 returners, and this year – we're in the double digits. So looking forward to those guys that have been in the program for a long time, and it's finally their senior year. We talk about it all the time with the kids of you only get one senior year.
Yes.
As a coach, how many every years you're going to coach, you'll get 30 senior classes, but we try to make sure it's special for each one of those. And like you said, the returners we've got coming back have really stepped into that leadership role. Starting with Trey, Trey Townsend has done a great job of not just leading, with his ability, but he's become more of a vocal leader, and you can tell that, it's his team right now, and him and as well as others that have stepped up and taken that role. It's neat to see as a coach those guys mature and grow up and become a leader.
And the staff has stayed stable again, which is I think's been one of the keys. I mean, goodness gracious, look, this is your 5th year as a head coach. I think it was 15 years as an assistant coach. We've got a lot of, the same guys on staff, and that continuity really helps the program, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And you stretch it all the way down to the middle school. We've had the same middle school coach for the 20 years that I've been here, and it carries over to the high school. And the staff we have is tremendous. We've got several head coaches that are former head coaches, and we got several that could be head coaches, but and they choose to stay here because it goes beyond football. It's just a great place to work and raise your kids. So can't say enough about the staff that we have and the job that they do, both on and off the field. Now that I have kids, it's kind of you want to hire people that you want to coach your kids one day, and that's what we've done, and we've got some really good coaches. Yes,
we are going to we're going to talk about the spring or the scrimmage against Northwest Whitfield this past Friday at the Reeve and on Howland Field. But first of all, talking a little bit about what has happened since last season has started. The guys, with the continuity of the staff, with the senior leadership that you have this year, some expectations for this team, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. We have the same expectations every year. You're looking to, doesn't matter who you've got, we're going to try to put a quality product out there on the field. But the kids, obviously, coming after last year, and they were 10th graders the year we played for the state championships. They know what it takes to get there. It's just a matter of getting it started, and it's a long season, super long season. When you look at 5 non-region games that we have that are, really tough games. I was talking to them this morning that, we don't have the luxury of, kind of hop, skipping, and jumping into some games. We jump right into it with Blessed Trinity, and it's going to take our best football game to be able to compete with those guys. So, when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's a long season, and so you're going to have to table your expectations to go back to your point of you can't worry about where you want to get to. You got to make sure that we're getting better every day and taking it game by game.
Yeah, SEC, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what we want, and that's the motto again. One of the things that you have to fight is the schedule of how you do your practices. Then we throw Mother Nature into the mix, and it's been trying at times. Just the past week and a half to get things done hasn't it?
It's been very difficult. Like, I don't even know what day it is right now. It seems like it's the second Thursday of the week, and it's just Wednesday. But it's just tough. It's a lot on players and a lot on coaches here. Until we get into a routine, football coaches, we want this to happen and then that to happen and the next thing. And so far, since acclimation, it hadn't been able to do that. We have pre-planning that we have to get to, and the weather, like you said, not just the storms, but the heat index got us one day. So we've had to jump around a little bit. We've had 2 afternoon practices that both got canceled. Both had to go to the gym, so we've had to have a lot of early mornings, a lot of 6 a.m. practices until the weather cools off and we get a little more stable weather. This week it's been storming about every day, so we had to be in the gym on the one afternoon practice that we were going to. So we changed up a little bit. We went this morning, and then we'll go Thursday and Friday morning as well.
Yesterday was a prime example of trying to figure out what Mother Nature is going to do, because I'm sitting there around 3 o'clock. I'm getting ready for my tennis lessons, and I'm thinking, well, the weather's rolling in. I can hear thunder in the distance. So you're fighting heat index. You're fighting, is there lightning within whatever mile radius it is where you have to stop practice? It's just been a nightmare. All right, let's get back to last Friday's scrimmage. Northwest Whitfield, we've scrimmaged them several times, several years consecutively here. We got them at Phil Reeve Stadium on Howland Field. Jumped out to a quick lead. Nice scrimmage. Tell the folks what you thought of how the boys performed.
Number one, we love scrimmaging Northwest. Coach
Yes.
Robinson and their staff are stand-up guys, and they treat it like we do. They don't treat it like it's the Super Bowl. They
Right.
treat it like it's a scrimmage, like it should be, And like you said, we the first offense probably got 2 drives completely without subbing a little bit, maybe 3 drives, and thought they looked really good, and the defense did too. The defense was flying around. Going into scrimmages, there are going to be a ton of mistakes, but we told them if they could just fly around and make mistakes full speed that we can get it corrected. And I think for the most part, the ones and the twos look pretty good. Look good for a scrimmage. We put on pads on Monday and then scrimmage on Friday, so it's a very quick turnaround. That's just the way that the rules are set up now. So it's always, we don't want to play those guys too much because we haven't had on pads but 4 days. But I think we got just about everybody in. We have 106 players. I think we might have missed a couple, but that's the tough part. Trying to get all those guys in the second half. But overall, it was a good performance.
We have some young'uns that are going to want to step up, and being a 5A team, you were wanting to develop that depth. You want their want to turn into a fact.
Yeah, and you look at speaking of young guys, you kind of treat it as they're going to be growing pains for sure,
right,
throughout the first few games. But our goal is to be better game 6 than we are game 1, because game 6 is the first region game, and then we want to be better game 11 than we are game 6, because that would be the first playoff game. So it's just a long season, like we talked about earlier. And those young guys, by the time it's game 11, 12, they've got a full season under their belt. It's just, we know they're going to be growing pains, and you kind of get through them and coach them up and learn from them and move on.
Yeah, the first two drives, you ended up with touchdowns. You're up 14-0. Northwest scores a touchdown, then you go back down the field and get another touchdown. And unfortunately, I was in Orlando watching our grandson play baseball, so I missed the scrimmage. But in talking to some people, and I talked to Jason Fuller, your touchdown club president, and he said, yeah, we started rolling people in. He says, I don't know if it was on the second series, but I know by the third series we were rolling people in. He says, so we didn't get to see the Caden Williams and the Trey Townsends and the Amari Winstons, who all did good things, as well as you've got some speedy guys coming from the track team that had a really good spring, the last spring in track. This team, I don't know that it's going to surprise. I don't think Calhoun can surprise anybody, because I think we were just voted the third best athletic school to go to in the entire state of Georgia, and athletics is a pretty big deal in the state of Georgia, in case anybody doesn't know that's listening. It's amazing the depth that you can get, and hopefully it turns out to play where you're doing 11, 12, game 13, game 14.
Yeah, going into the scrimmage, we know what the guys that showed out last year can do.
Right.
We know what Caden and Amari and Justin Beasley, who's another one that had a great spring. We knew what they could do. We wanted to test out some of those guys that was the first time kind of in the fire, and everybody that we wanted to see do well, got out there and showed out. So very pleased and very very excited about developing that depth over the course of the year, because that's what it takes. You look at last year, we were a really good football team, and the more injuries that pile up, the more important that depth is behind them, and so we feel good about it. But it is, I guess the adage, it is what it is as far as injuries goes, and we just got to make sure that we have enough guys that we can make it through a tough non-region schedule and then a tough region schedule into the playoffs.
Yeah, and by the time we got to the quarterfinals last year, we were a banged-up team. We were missing starters left and right. We were missing depth, and it's just one of those things. But that's 5A football.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's hurt at that time of the year.
Yes.
The key is we try to treat these first 5 non-region games. Obviously we want to go out and compete and win the football games, but we have to keep the end goal in mind. We got to keep the region schedule in mind, and hopefully we'll be able to just kind of build game by game and be ready for Cartersville. Well,
let's look ahead. So we have a non-region schedule, and of course we're going to be at Blessed Trinity. We have a little bit of a relationship with them.
Yeah, I think I was trying to count up. We've played them 5 times in 4 years.
Yes.
Maybe. And so they've got a new staff, a new coaching staff, or new head coach, and a couple of new guys on staff. Some of them stayed along. So, but we know what the kids are. We know it doesn't matter. No matter who's coaching, those kids are going to play hard, and they're going to be athletic. And like you said, that they got us last year. We beat them twice in 21, and they came out and beat us opening game last year. So we know it's going to be a high caliber football game with two great programs. That's an awesome place to play. We got to play there in 21. They came here last year, so very excited about them and just kind of seeing they scrimmage Oconee County on Friday. So it'll be kind of the first time that we get to see what they're doing.
This coming Friday they scrimmage. Okay.
In the past, obviously they've been in the I and been a power football team. So we'll see what the new staff's going to do. So very excited about that game for sure.
We had Gardendale, Alabama, replaced on the schedule because the state of Alabama moved their season up a week, so Gardendale couldn't play us again. So we get to go down and take on Carver the second week. This is an away game. This is a week from Friday is at Blessed Trinity. Then the following Friday we go down to Grady Stadium and take on Carver, who it was a state playoff participant who's probably loaded with athletes again.
Oh yeah, they're definitely loaded. They played we shared a locker room with them in 2021 for the state championship at Turner Field or Georgia State Stadium. So tremendous football team. A great coach. I think he's been there for a while, and we know they've got players and athletes. On both sides of the football. Don't know much about them. Again, it'll be one of these first couple of games just kind of fill out. And really, the non-region games are about us anyway.
Yes.
We got to go out there and make sure that we're performing where we need to perform. But those two games are very big. Carver will be. It's called the Greater Atlanta Bash. It's the first team that's been outside of kind of Metro Atlanta that they got to play in it. So we're very excited about it.
And good. That'll be fun. We get Creekview at home this time. They had this 500-pound running back who was a stud athlete that they pounded us with last year. And then we fought Mother Nature because it rained like the dickens second half. So Creekview is going to be a challenge again. And it's a large school. It's a 6A school.
Yeah, it is. Going back to last year, awesome place to play.
Yes, it was.
So I'm hoping that's our first home game this year. So I'm hoping we're able to show them what the Reed's all about, because they had an awesome place to play. Their student section was packed, and it was a good place. Then it started raining. It kind of added to the game, and that game we were down 11 in the second half,
right,
and came back and won on the road. So it was a very big game for us last year. But they were a good team. We never played them before. Didn't know much about them. Now we know that they're a hard-nosed football team. I think it's probably one of the top programs in that area. So look forward to that being our first home game.
Yeah, we broadcast right behind the student section, and it was vocal. It was a great atmosphere. We go on the road again after that home game, and we go down to Cedartown, and good golly, I mean, the battle of the seas happens again, and the Bulldogs are always good.
Yes, they're a very solid football team.
And folks, don't pay attention to what they lost. This is a solid program.
No, they're so hard-nosed. It doesn't matter who they lost, who they have. They're going to be well coached and play hard. So that's a game that's obviously they got us at home last year for homecoming. So it's a game that we're looking forward to getting over there. They've got turf now. Last time we went, they had
is that right?
So that'll be a good game against a really quality opponent that came down to the wire last year for the state championship in 4A.
Then we wrap up our non-region schedule with our fifth game of the non-region schedule with our homecoming game against our inter-county rival, Sonoraville.
Yeah, it's always good to get to play your hometown guys.
Right.
All the kids know each other, and but looking now, that's so far away. That,
right. Yes.
It's homecoming week, which obviously we didn't want to pick it, but we only have four home games.
Yes.
So we had to just kind of take that because that's what worked out for the schedule. So looking forward to that one. Like I said, Coach Pate does a tremendous job over there, and we know they'll be ready to play.
Bright side is maybe next year we'll have 6 home games.
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll have we should completely revamp to the schedule.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So we don't even know what region we're in. That's another podcast for another day. But my whole thing with that is I don't really care who's in there. I just want it to be a big region.
Right.
So you don't have to schedule non-region games. That's been one of the biggest challenges I've had as a head coach these last 4 or 5 years. Trying to schedule football games.
I like the word challenge.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of the pain in the derriere.
That's right. It's it's been fun games, but it is.
Yes, they have been,
and not just varsity. It's difficult finding JV and ninth grade as well.
Let's go down to the non-varsity level. still doing some freshman scheduling as well as JV scheduling?
Yeah, right now we've got 5 games set for each team. Five
Good.
Ninth and 5 JV. And as always, we might lose one, but we'll also pick some up along the way. So hopefully we'll have 6 or 7 games with both of those guys.
You want to talk a little bit about the region as we get into this season?
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, Cartersville, Calhoun, Hiram, Woodland, Dalton, and Cass. I was talking to Jason again last night. I think this year, this region, didn't we win all 4 games in the first round last year in the region?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so the region, a lot of people thought, well, Region 7's not that strong. It turned out to be pretty strong last year.
Yeah, Cass was the 4th seed, and they upset Jefferson, who was a top 3 or 4 team in the state all year.
With maybe the best recruit in the entire state right now, at linebacker. Okay, so we go into this, and I was talking to Jason, and I said, you know what? I think this is, in my 25 years of doing this broadcasting, this might be the strongest region from top to bottom that we've been in a while.
Yeah, when you lost Western Trinity going into last year from the region, you thought it might get a little bit easier, but as it's going on, Cartersville is going to stay solid year in, year out. And then, Cass and Hiram have, you look at the off-season stuff, and they've got players getting signed and recruited all over the place. So it's the region turned into a 5-team race or a 6-team race for 4 spots, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
It is going to be very interesting. The region schedule has been flopped around a little bit, and it doesn't matter. We're just going to talk about the teams. We'll get to when we play them later on in the season. But I'm looking at the All-State in 5A that came out on Georgia High School Football Daily. And congratulations to Caden Williams, who was picked first-team running back. But as you look at this, there's 11 of the 27 players picked on the offense and defense, first-team state in 5A by Georgia High School Football Daily. 11 of those 27 players are in Region 7. Wow. Hiram has 5.
Wow, that's interesting. Is this the one that Imari was not on?
Yes.
Yes. So that I think that definitely put a little chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, the tight end from Hiram got his spot.
That's correct. But Caden and Trey, obviously they're returning starters for us, and looking forward to them having a great year. But with, like you said, 11 out of 27, that goes to say, like you said, shows how strong the region is.
Yeah, we have 2 with Trey at quarterback and Caden at running back, and then Cass has 2, and Hiram has 5 on this team, and 2 of them are those big hoss linemen.
Yeah, Hiram was a tough team to figure out last year.
Yeah,
I don't think there'll be any confusion about how good they are this year. They beat us, and they didn't even make the playoffs last year. So
right,
it shows you how tough the region is. But all those guys are returning. They, like you said, they've got 5 guys and that are big time recruits, and then Coach Formanaya does a great job over there. He's one of my I enjoy talking with him a lot, and he's a great coach and a great guy.
Yeah, it's the region. I think from top to bottom is just going to be really strong. Somebody's heart's going to be broken, like you said. Hiram beat us last year and didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah,
and it's going to happen again this year.
That's right. Once you get to, like you said, all of us have five games on an off week, and then the real season starts. And that's got to be our main focus to make sure we're peaking by game 6, because it's going to be every week. We're going to have to bring it, and because I guess you got to win. You got to get 2 wins to 2 wins out of the region to make it, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I like our schedule. We get 5 non-region games. We get a week off, and then we get 5 region games. Then we get a week off, and then it's on to the playoffs. Any big surprises, or I don't need you to mention names, but anything happening with the team so far that you see in practice and from last Friday's scrimmage? You kind of go back and you get with the coaches and you're sitting around going, that's pretty good.
Well, I just think the overall team chemistry has improved a little bit this summer. The seniors have done a ton. They do a bunch of stuff together outside of football, which it's a special group that I feel like they're doing something 2 or 3 times a week with each other. off the football field. And that's when you look at good teams and great teams and championship teams, that's one of the little things that separates, because we know we're going to have talent. We know we're going to have a good football team. But to be a championship level football team, we've got to have that team chemistry that we've had in the past for those state championship runs that we've had.
Yeah, and when we have so many kids returning that had so much experience playing for state championships when they were sophomores on that football team, making deep runs in the playoff every year, it's really good for a coaching staff that they don't have to maybe get on a player during practice. It's an hour and a half into practice. It's 85 degrees outside, and everybody's getting tired. When one of your leaders on the team goes over and does the coaching up of the player,
and that's one of the main points that we've talked about this preseason so far, of to do that and to be the type of leader that we need. And we always go back to Jair Wilson, and
yes,
we always go back to him. And to be able to do that to even half of his level, you got to be in shape. And that's the thing. So sometimes you're trying to lead, but you're not in good enough shape to lead through a whole practice and through a 4-quarter football game. So that's been the main thing that we told them. We had 3 goals of preseason practice. We need to be in better shape than our first few opponents, be better at fundamentals, and be better at special teams. So that's kind of what we've tried to hammer down these little bit, because the X's and O's are going to come, and the stuff's going to come. But if we can be in better shape, block, tackle, and protect the football better, and have better special teams, it's going to give us a chance to win those first 3 games.
Your offensive coordinator, Adam Holly, has to be tickled that he's got a returning quarterback in Trey Townsend, a returning running back in Caden Williams. We've got some offensive linemen. Your defensive coordinator, Coach Terry Morrow, has got a lot of defensive guys coming back. The black shirt defense is going to be stout. I think I know Coach Hall is developing his Hall's Hogs. So Coach Adam Holly and the pound and shoot offense is ready to go. This is an exciting time of year. If we can just get Mother Nature to cooperate, so we can get the work in.
Yeah, to go back, Coach Hall, he's been here. He was our first hire when we got here, and this is his first time he's gonna have a center returning.
Yes,
about that this morning.
First time,
which is huge. Having a center, a quarterback, and a running back returning, as well as Christian Bell, who can play all 4 spots on the offensive line, is huge up for us on the offense. And the defensive side, like you said, the up front, we've got some returners, and we got Christian Smith and Brooks Brandon coming back from last year's team that are linebackers. So
Brooks, big recovery in the offseason from that injury, and I was glad to see him get some big. Read about getting him getting some big plays.
Yeah, we're definitely look forward to those guys that are returning, being able to because it's different if you were just a backup role or a sub until we ask you to play a 4-quarter football game. Sometimes going both ways, it's different. So leaning on those guys' experience and having a year under the belt would be great.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your duties. I could sit here and talk to you for another hour, but we'd probably bore people to death on the stuff that we're going to talk about. Everybody is excited everywhere I go. Everybody's asking about the jackets. A 15-minute grocery visit, and I'm not complaining, folks. Come talk to me anytime. It turns into a half hour. My wife always giggles. Well, I'm going to run down to the corner grocery store here. She says, well, I'll see you in an hour.
Yeah. My wife's the same way. She just leaves me, walks off. But it's very exciting. Like sports have such a delayed, I talked about it earlier, delayed gratification or delayed misery, either one that you want to put. And it takes so long to get back to the excitement of it because sometimes it's not fun. Like I've told the kids this summer and this preseason, you don't have to enjoy it, the grind part,
right?
But you got to embrace it. You got to embrace the part that's not fun and the part when it's hot and you're tired. You got to embrace it and know that you're doing all that to get to those exciting points in the season again. And you can't just snap your fingers. And I wish you could. I wish you could snap your fingers and be back to these big football games and be ready to play them. But that's not the way it works. You got to put in the work and put in the sweat and the grind. And I feel like the kids have done that, and the coaches have done that, and we're ready to get it jump started.
Speaking of the grind, how was the mountain climb?
It was good. It was hot this year. It rained the last couple of years, but the kids did a great job. They attacked it, and that's another kind of team building thing that we enjoy.
Your 5th year as a head coach here. Can you believe that? I keep looking at my folder and I'm thinking, yeah, it is the 5th year that you're a head coach here.
That's right. It flies by. I talked about it earlier, but being here is super special. And having the staff that we have, it's a blessing for me, and to be here and have those guys working with us.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see Mom and Dad at the games, by the way.
Oh, yeah, they're looking forward to it.
It's been a while. I'm going to let you get back to your duties. Any final comments you want to say before we move on and let you get to practice?
No, I'm looking forward to getting the season started next Friday, the 18th. We've got a couple of weeks before the first home game, and first home game will be youth night, and we're looking forward to getting those first couple games under our belt, but we're really ready to get home and play in front of the home crowd. Yeah,
and we're only going to get to do this 4 times, and I know we'll have big crowds there, but we'll be on the air bringing you the broadcast every Friday night for the game. So if you can't make a road trip, why, you can tune in and listen to us at CalhounTDClub.com. Well, I'm going to let you get back to it. Your broadcast and I'm having a hard time speaking right now. Exactly. But In the Press Box has been brought to you by North Georgia Paperboard, and we thank them for their support. We thank all the people that are supporting us as we bring you these broadcasts. Good luck and good health to the Yellow Jackets,
Coach.
I
appreciate it.
You've been listening to In the Press Box with Coach Clay Stephenson.